Well, to talk more about the controversy and about the protests that we've seen breaking out today in several cities across the country, we've been showing you those visuals, protests in Delhi, in Hyderabad, in Kolkata, in various towns of Uttar Pradesh as well, in Ranchi, where we saw some violence as well and firing, as well as policemen getting injured. To talk more about it, we're joined by Geeta Bhatt, political analyst, someone who supports the BJP and our Lok Bhatt's leader of the BJP. Thank you both for joining us. And Geeta Bhatt, first to you, what would you say about, this spiraling the situation, the fact that today after Friday prayers, we've seen protests and demonstrations in some places even turning violent, breaking out, and the need for really toning down of, this hate politics?
Well, Gargi ji, thanks for having me on your show. And you see this, after the Friday prayers, the kind of situation that we have seen at various places of stone pelting and of disruption of law and order and inciting violence definitely does not seem to be organic in nature. It is very clear that there are larger forces who are trying to, tarnish the reputation of the country and the image of the Prime Minister. And all these people, they are being used as the tools for doing so. Just after the Friday prayers, after coming out, the question arises, why is it that after the Friday prayers only, this kind of taking the law and order in your hands, rather disrupting it, happened in so many places.
Our reporters have been reporting on it. Was expected because we do know Friday prayers means a large congregation. There's still a lot of anger that Nupur Sharma has not been arrested, and in many places the police are in touch with the religious leaders, and and efforts were being made that there shouldn't be too protests and violence. At least a protest, of course, is a democratic right, but yes, no violence should break out.
Definitely protest. They have a right to protest if they are, and they can take a legal course if they feel that that something has not been done in an order. They can take a legal course. They can go to the courts and ask for justice if they think that something wrong has happened.
But the demand is that Nupur Sharma be arrested is what many of those who are protesting today have been saying, and we do know that it took at least 2 weeks before a case was even filed naming Nupur Sharma, which was filed only yesterday by the Delhi police, and in which some 30 other people were also named.
Well, yes, I would like to add over here, Gargi ji, that at such a juncture, it is very, very crucial that whosoever the so-called leadership of the community, they should come out and assuage this kind of a situation, which I am sorry to say is not happening. I feel very sorry to say, but I have seen the former vice president on your channel. Someone who has been at such a respectable position, it is expected that people like him will come out and they will try.
Well, he did say that in fact he said that it should be the Prime Minister or someone at the top from the government who should actually speak out, because so far we haven't heard from them, and he pointed out that perhaps even 2 words from the Prime Minister on this could have quelled the entire issue. And we've only seen action from the BJP after the Gulf countries reacted in anger over the insult to the Prophet. Alok Bhatt, do you think more efforts should be made? As we were speaking to General Shah earlier, and he said that perhaps we could put together their effort to make a kind of delegation of respected personalities within the Muslim community to talk to the government and try to resolve this entire issue, because nobody wants hate, nobody wants these violent protests and then young people getting arrested. But on the other hand, I asked him this: do you think this is something that the government would welcome? And he said, well, we are reaching out to the RSS. So isn't this something you feel should be done?
See, Gargi, as I told you earlier, I again stand by it. Now what is being done is an orchestrated move.
Okay.
At 10, 12 places at the same time, in the same manner, unless it is well planned, meticulously planned, previously planned, it cannot happen. Look at the timing, and some of the places the crowd got violent. They did again the same thing, that is stone pelting, which is seen by all.
Though we must maintain that largely in UP there was no violence. We have seen in Prayagraj, I think there was a little bit perhaps in Muradabad, but it's to the credit of the authorities that there was no major violence also that broke out.
Saharanpur, Prayagraj was some stone pelting was there, even at Muradabad.
Yes.
And the severity was at Ranchi. But let me tell you one thing, what the general was speaking, I quite agree with his views. He wants to talk to the RSS people also. But the RSS chief has already clarified that we don't need to go in for digging shivlings at every mosque and now let's put a cold water to that.
But sir,
Now,
that was before this entire controversy, before the BJP took action against Nupur Sharma. He was talking about, the Gyanvapi mosque controversy and how after that you've seen similar efforts in Mathura, in Karnataka.
During the Gyan...
Yes.
Gargi,
and we need more of those kind of statements, don't you think, sir?
No,
why isn't the Prime Minister speaking out? Why isn't there any effort to reach out? Or the Home Minister?
During the Gyanvapi mosque, listen to me, during the Gyanvapi mosque, there were many other mosques which was also being talked about.
Yes.
So he wanted to put arrest late. And as you are talking about the Prime Minister, it is the BJP party's official spokesperson who has done some mistake. Already action has been taken. We have a disciplinary committee right from the top to
the
bottom
spokesperson of
level.
the ruling party,
So,
sir, yes.
Is the Prime Minister not aware of what is happening to the spokesperson or what has happened to him, to her and him? He is fully aware. But he is not the part of the disciplinary action committee. So why should he come forward? But he is aware as a party worker that what has happened to the person who did damage to the party by saying something against the Prophet, which was not in correct tone or correct light. Yes, as I told you earlier, and I still stand by it, that taking action on both of them, there was some delay. But after that, there was no delay. Srivastava in Kanpur was arrested immediately. Other persons who did something. But now the Muslims are being instigated by others.
But sir, their demand is that they want they're demanding Nupur Sharma to be arrested because let's face it that many Muslim leaders or personalities or activists have been arrested for far less over the last few years and they're still languishing in jail. So that is one of the reasons for the anger. We also have Zafar Sareshwala. We also have all right. We also are joined now.
Let me tell you one
by
thing,
Syed Abbas. Syed, political analyst there. Syed, what would you say about what Mr. Alok Butts is saying? And, earlier we had General Shah speaking and he said that there are going to be attempts to form some kind of delegation to talk to the RSS and, try to calm things down because nobody wants these kind of protests that we've been seeing today. Geeta Bhatt saying that it looks like an organized protest that broke out across the country. And again, an alluding to some sort of instigation by foreigners or by some other organization.
The fact of the matter here is that we need to understand the duplicity and hypocrisy of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Many a times their spokesperson come out and claim that it is the PFI which is behind such violent protests and all of that. So my request to the High Command of the BJP, over the last 8 years you are in power, why have you not banned the PFI, SDPI or the CFI? You will not do that. This is the hypocrisy which time and again comes. Why? Because the PFI polarizes and many of the BJP and their fringe element polarize. We need to understand here, as an Indian, as a Muslim, we need to understand, na Hindu bura hai, na Musalman bura hai, jo karta burai wo insan bura hai. Our Constitution of India allows us to peacefully protest. Let me take a stand on your show and tell this, that absolutely no form of violence, absolutely no form of protest which instigates people, causes communal riots is not okay. It is uncalled for. The fact of the matter, the Bharatiya Janata Party did not take any action. Apart from the Arab nations who came out and when they started summoning the Indian envoys, ambassadors, then they had to wake up. When Indian Muslims raised their voice against the wrongdoings of the BJP, why does it fall on deaf ears? Why did the Arab nations had to come and intervene for that? And also, as a matter of fact, why isn't Nupur Sharma behind the bus? Why isn't the investigation started? What is the BJP doing? The fact is the BJP believes in George Orwell and George Orwell's quote. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the others. Why does BJP and their spokesperson who come out time and again on TV debates spread so much of venom? What do? Hindu, Muslim, Ganga, Ganga, Mandir, Masjid. This is not the India that we want. We want an India which talks about unity.
Already, let me get Alok Butts there. Alok Butts, what I was also,
30 seconds, I'll just close my point, just 30 seconds.
Sure.
The fact when I read the letter of the disciplinary committee, let me tell you, which spoke of unity among the nation, about India being a fabric of coming together. The fact is, ma'am, let me tell you, I read that letter even more than my first love letter. BJP talking about so much of goodness, but they do nothing about Yati Narsingananda or a Bajrang Muni. They are out on bail. These guys do riots time and again, speak of raping women, and they do nothing about it. Sir, Mr. BJP, it is high time that you stop this duplicity, stop this hypocrisy, and get on work. We Hindu Muslims brothers want to live together in peace and harmony. We don't want such vitiating atmosphere at all.
All right, let's get Alok Bhatt. Alok Bhatt, I hope you could hear that and, your reply to that.
Half the time I could not hear his voice because it was very, very feeble. But anyway, what I've heard about from there, I can give a reply that already regarding the Hindu leaders who made some outrageous remarks, already the RSS chief has categorically said that they have not to be taken seriously by any organization. And already there has been action against them. There has been FIR against them. They were arrested. And now the course of law is taking its own course. So just wait. You can't hang somebody. What did we do with MF Hussain? He openly criticized our deities. He openly made nude pictures of our deities. But did we hang him? Did we shoot him? Did we make any demonstrations to shoot him and put him behind the bars?
Well, sir, MF Hussain had to actually leave the country and he did die outside of India, longing to come back. But Geeta Bhatt, you also come in here. Isn't there now a need for more amity, more voices to speak out sanely and there to be for some sort of balm for the communities and too much of and even in NDTV we don't like doing too many of these Hindu-Muslim debates. But right now this issue has become such, and today you have violence breaking out and protests and demonstrations taking place, and it's continuing, and the demand is that Nupur Sharma should be arrested for the kind of comments that she made, which do divide society.
Gargiji, you see, when an FIR has already been made, then definitely law is going to take its own course. And
after 2 weeks, yes, an FIR was finally filed.
Yes, and surprisingly, even these protests, they did not take place after what the comments that were made. It is only after they could see that there are the momentum is building. Then there are.
Ma'am, there was also the Kanpur violence that took place in Kanpur. Yes, that too was after.
Also, yes, I'm trying to talk about Kanpur.
Was on the Nupur Sharma comments.
It is very clear that in Kanpur there are people who have been arrested. There are political leaders, and they are not outsiders. There is a different issue that already there are cyber bots, thousands of them which have been identified from Pakistan, from other countries who are trying to escalate this by posting things.
So, ma'am, all the more reason that things need to be resolved, and there needs to be some sort of reaching out by the BJP and by the government perhaps to resolve this.
On this situation, rather they are trying to exploit this situation. And
well, our enemies will try and exploit it, and which is why we need less of these sort of situations breaking out, don't you think?
Leaders, how can they become enemy of their own country? This is a matter of internal security of the country now.
Who is becoming an enemy of their own country, ma'am?
Allow me to counter that.
Yes, Saeed, go ahead.
Okay. I heard both the panelists, Gargiji. The fact of the matter is, enemy of the country is the one who is trying to make blasphemous statements, who's trying to do Hindu-Muslim. They are the true enemies of the country. Time and again, we see certain political parties who come out in the open and call for a genocide of one particular community. We need to talk of peace. Let me tell you, Gargiji, through your channel, through NDTV, through your show, a humble appeal to all of the brothers out there to kindly keep calm. The fact of the matter is, our prophet in the holy book says, Hubbul Watan, love for your country, live for your country, die for your country. That is the way to go. No matter there might be 100 Nupur Sharmas, there are fantastic people who are from this land, like the Mahatma Gandhi. Listen to a Gandhi. That is the way to go. Not those opportunists or political leaders who do so. Also, we need to understand that these अल्लामा इकबाल ने बहुत खूब कहा है, गर्गी जी, मजहब नहीं सिखाता आपस में बैर रखना. It is these political parties time and again to polarize. Gargi ji, one simple question that I'd like to ask the BJP representative. Respected sir, many of them we know behind these rights, PFI ka haath hai. then why, sir, if you time and again blame the PFI, why over the last 8 years you have parroted that PFI ko ban karenge 2014 May 2019, 2 times in power, 8 years in power, 2 terms. Why haven't you yet banned the PFI? Are you scared that PFI will no more
Alok, but a final word to you on that. And yes, the fact is that we need to stop platforming too much hate, and we need, more efforts towards amity.
See, we are making all efforts to maintain harmony and peace. Right. We have initiated the action. Action is on. And again, somebody tried to disrupt the harmony in Kanpur. That boy Srivastava, he was immediately arrested and taken to task. So, from our side, we want people to join hands. But there are many other decisive forces which are working in this country. Al-Qaeda, Taliban.
Ban them. Why haven't you banned PFI, sir? Answer me.
The various organizations, and funding is also taking place. Foreign funding to disrupt the harmony of this country.
All right.
To establish.
Sir, you did not answer.
Well, I'm completely out of time. I think we'll have to leave it there. You've all made, your points, and thank you so much for joining us on NDTV today to talk about these protests that we saw, demonstrations and demands for Nupur Sharma to be arrested. I'm also joined by Zafar Sareshwala, former Chancellor, Maulana Azad National Urdu University. Thank you so much for joining us. And, you've been listening to the debate. Your comments on, the fact that today we saw these protests, their allegations that, foreign hand and it was all very organized, and also about, more efforts to resolve this hatred, this that we're seeing Hindu, Muslim constantly being talked about in the media as well.
Gargi, whatever people may call about it, but when this happened, and when the foreign governments, they raised the issue, BJP immediately issued a letter. I mean, that letter was very clear, and maybe better late than never. But that letter was very clear-cut, and it showed that what is our ideology. We totally abhor what these people have said, and we are totally against. After that, they suspended Nupur, and they rusticated Naveen Jindal. After that, Indian embassy, the ambassador, they went, they explained, they made the position. So one thing was very clear, that the government of India came out, maybe late, but they ultimately came out and they said very clearly that this is not our policy. We are not anti-Islam, and we have highest respect for the Prophet of Islam. After that, various police stations particularly in Maharashtra and now in Delhi also, they've registered FIR. Okay. Now there is a process. Now, today's demonstration, I mean, see, nobody denies. I mean, I am also one that, yes, you have all the right to demonstrate, to agitate, but it has to be peaceful. And always such demonstrations go out of hand. Even 2, 3, 4 people also, as you also mentioned earlier, that couple of places people gathered, they dispersed. But at some places, there was violence, there was arson, there was stone throwing. So basically what these people have done, they've done exactly for what the Prophet of Islam stood for. And lastly, what I would have done, and I'm through your channel sending this message across to Nupur Sharma, that Nupur, there are various books on the life of Prophet available without bias. Read his life, read his character, what he stands for, and why billions of people, apart from Muslims also, think him to be such a revered figure. Actually, your mind has been poisoned by the Orientalist thinking, because what she said and a lot of other people are saying, it is not new. This is the Orientalist ideology. So your mind has been shaped by that poisonous ideology. I would request you, read the life of the Prophet and then decide what this person is, what his life meant, and why he is called Rahmatul Lil Alameen. Means he is for reverence for mankind. It is not, Prophet Muhammad's life is not trademark for Muslims alone. He is for throughout the world. So my humble advice,
right, sir, I think everyone should spend more time reading up on these issues and if they're very passionate about it and not reading about it on social media or, getting information from WhatsApp. And the hope really is going forward that there can be more efforts to, douse this sort of hatred that we're seeing in the country, and media channels also being more responsible. But thank you so much for joining us on the program today.